Oh, I have great news for you. My dad is a real gay man.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
we could talk about that.
Yeah. I mean,
Are your parents still married?
yeah, he's got a nice
Oh
beard.
man, I bet he does. Probably his pride and joy.
Physically and metaphorically. Yeah.
Oh no. Oh my gosh.
I
Yeah,
just use that term because I just learned of that term recently. Like
closeted gay
it's like a
man?
cloak. No, like
Oh,
if you
the
have a
beard.
beard, it means
Oh yeah.
that you have someone who's like acting as if you're
Yeah.
heterosexual and they're your partner. All that.
Yeah. And sometimes it can go both ways where like both people,
Yeah,
I've seen marriages like that where like both, it's a straight marriage in theory, but both people are gay and they
it's
basically
pretty
like have a
sad.
poly relationship. It's like, I used to think that honestly, and I've had a few clients that seem really happy in their marriages because of it, but it's really,
Because it's like
it's
more of a
dense to me
business transaction.
psychologically. It's like a business transaction, or it's like they're best friends and they've never really been thrilled about the idea of marriage or having a
Yeah.
life partner that's also like involves sexual intimacy. So they're like, I want more of like a partner and I don't want the pressure of sex all the time. And so I want to marry someone who is gay, but then be able to have casual sex or have a partner on the side that meets that need.
Yeah, no, I like
It's
that. I
interesting.
think it's more just sad that the societal projections have made it to where people have to hide or don't feel safe
Yeah.
being
I
fully
th-
open.
I think it definitely, yeah, that used to be a lot more common where people would do it from safety.
Yeah. But now
I do
maybe
feel
it's
like a lot
just
of
they
people
don't,
talk about it
it's
now.
like they don't like, it's the same kind of function as I don't like correcting someone how they pronounce my name. It's like I'd rather
Yeah.
just kind of cloak in and not have to explain how gay I am to someone. It's like
Good
I can't be
callback.
bothered. Yeah.
hmm It is like, it is frustrating. Shocked that people mispronounce your name though.
No, they don't mispronounce, they misspell. I'm
Oh,
just
it's
thinking
only
of like
spelling.
if I'm at like a coffee shop, I would say
Oh, yeah.
6 times out of 10 it's Even. That or
That's so
Kevin,
strange because
which I can
I went to
understand
school with a
Kevin, but
handful of Evans.
yeah, I want to say like, okay, whenever you've read this word before, what did it sound like?
What
Because
did you
Even
think?
and Evan
Yeah.
don't sound similar at
No,
all. And then I throw
no.
the coffee in their face and I spit on them.
As you should. Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
have to say Rihanna, like the singer, and then it always like initiates this big response, like, "Oh my gosh, no way!" And I'm like, "Yeah," but also she's like 5 years older than me, so I wasn't like every once in a while I ask like people will ask, "Are you named after her?" And I'm like, she's literally 5 years older than me, so no, she
Yeah.
wasn't a star at 5 years old,
She
so
kind
no,
of
I wasn't
disappeared.
named
I
after
guess
her.
she had kids or something, I think. I haven't really
Yeah,
seen
she's been
her.
having babies like crazy with ASAP Rocky. They've been
Oh
busy.
yeah. Thought that was pretty random. Good for them.
I thought so too. He's really attractive though, so I get it.
Yeah. We're the same age. Interesting.
hmm
So you had mentioned grad school and then your travel abroad. So I know we
Yeah.
kind of skimmed through that when we had first met. Um,
hmm
so I'd like to hear more about that, what your grad school experience was and then where you went to travel.
Yeah. So my program, I think I mentioned to you the first time we spoke, is my master's is in international disaster psychology. So a big reason I picked that, my family was really big on exploring other cultures. Like I was raised in Texas, and so we were in Mexico like every 3 day weekend. Like pre 9/11, before I needed a passport, I mean, you could get into Mexico or Canada with just your birth certificate. So we were in Mexico all the time. We had a home down there, and I've just always been curious about different cultures. And
What part
I
of
never had
Mexico
the
did you mostly stay
oh
in?
man, all over. My parents
Okay.
really like the more rural parts. So my mom right now actually lives in San Miguel de Allende, which is a couple hours outside of Mexico City.
Cool.
It's absolutely beautiful. The city surrounds this giant church that was actually built in the 1400s, and it is absolutely stunning. It's like an entire city of cobblestone roads, and it's
Yeah.
stunning. Lots of outdoor markets. Great. That's definitely my absolute favorite. But yeah, so I always grew up like being really interested in other cultures, and I didn't have the money to study abroad when I was in school and undergrad. So I wanted to pursue international psychology, and University of Denver and then like a random school in Minnesota, I think, had those programs. So I chose DU for obvious reasons. It's a great school. And they have a really large international presence.
Hmm.
So when we were on that program, there were 21 of us in our cohort, and we all chose our top three countries that the school had contracts with for like NGOs or like international nonprofits. So my top pick was Cambodia, and that's where I ended up getting. It's kind of like a match almost, where it's like I think that the company actually has to,
Like
like, we would meet
eHarmony.
with them. Kind of, yeah. I was thinking of it more of like a residency match for sure. So yeah, it's kind of like that, where it's like, we would chat with the like executive directors of these NGOs, see if we're a good fit. All of the different countries that we had that were available to us all offered really different like populations that they served. So, for example, if people chose India, India was really big on HIV/AIDS and like recovering from that crisis and doing counseling specific to like chronic disease management.
Yeah.
Cambodia was brand new, and it was mostly working with survivors of genocide. And I just absolutely love crazy shit, to be honest with you. So I was like, that sounds awesome. Like, I absolutely love that.
Yep.
So
We've already bonded
yeah,
on genocide a little bit.
yeah, it's so fascinating. Like, I,
It's
I didn't you
crazy.
tell me you took a class on it in
Yeah.
school, like an entire class? That's so
Yeah.
crazy. Oh
At
my,
at
I'm
8
so
a.m.
jealous. Up to 8 a.m. I remember that.
And I commuted, so I was up at 6:30, and then it's like, all right, going to my genocide class.
One day I will ask you how you actually mentally prepared yourself for that, because I don't even know
Was
what
it
you
the
could
Khmer
possibly do.
Rouge?
Yeah.
I
Which,
don't
by the
even know
way,
if
I
that's how
had
you
never
pronounce
heard
it, but
of. Yeah, it's the Khmer Rouge.
Khmer,
I
yeah.
had never heard of
Until you
this
went.
basically until I selected
Oh wow.
Cambodia.
I wouldn't have known it if
Yes.
I wasn't such a
Genocide
pioneer of
junkie.
genocide studies.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally. It's like we didn't learn about it in school, or at least, I have
What
pretty bad
decade was that?
ADHD. That was in the 70s, like the late 70s. So a
Yeah,
little
I knew it
too
wasn't super
recent.
far away. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it feels recent. So when
Hmm.
I went in 2016, and it felt like yesterday, and it had been 40 years. It was wild. So we went there. I went with one other person in my program, and we lived with the executive director in Phnom Penh, which is the capital. I think there's about 2 million people that live there. So it's a very large city. There's 16 million people total in Cambodia. But it's extremely spread out. It's kind of like Texas, where it's like there's these larger cities, but they're insanely spread out as well. And then there's perpetrators of the genocide, or like perceived perpetrators, if you will, that are kind of like banished to the Cambodian Thai border, which is the northwest part of Cambodia. So when we went, they did not know what the fuck to do with us. Like, I'm not super convinced that the person who was my manager knew that I was coming. Like, she seemed very confused when I arrived. They did warn us in school that that was a possibility, that they've seen that happen before. So I was a little bit prepared for that, thankfully. But they did not really know what to do with me. So I was just like FaceTiming friends for the first 2 weeks, so they wouldn't give me anything to do. And I was really
Yeah.
upset. And the girl that I went with was like, you need to advocate for yourself. Like, she got placed on a team that was doing all this incredible work, working with women who had survived the genocide, like focusing more on like the psychology of women in genocide. And I was like, I need to do something. So because she told me to advocate for myself, I did. And I got placed on a team that was doing a photography project that was like really deep in the rainforest. And basically, we hired a photographer, and they wanted to write a book, you kind of like a picture book in a way, or like a coffee table book, which is kind of weird to think like a genocide coffee table book. But so
Light
they were like,
reading.
okay, we want you and this photographer to go out and interview people. And it was a part of this giant narrative therapy project. And
Hmm.
so their goal was to unite perpetrators with the victim survivors. So what this company was basically doing, they initially were going and filming perpetrators. They were actually finding them by name based on who the victims were able to name. and would record them on video and ask them, like, what was your story? How were you coerced into participating in this? Because all of them except for one that I interacted with was coerced. One of them, it was by choice. He was a very dark man. It was like terrifying to be in his presence, honestly. But yeah, so they did this back and forth. So they would go and basically interview perpetrators. They would bring that video back. They would show it to the victim survivors in therapy. And over time, the victim survivors would write these giant narratives that they would eventually present at pagodas, which are like Buddhist houses of worship, with all these monks. And it was like this cleansing ceremony. It was really cool. And so at the end of the project, we would all go, and they had like 6 monks there, and they would bless the people that were going to read their narrative, and they would go up in front of the pagoda and read it with their therapist. Sometimes they were a few pages, sometimes they were 12 pages. But they would share every ounce of their trauma. So that's kind of wild. But my piece in that was going into the rainforest, getting stories for this like coffee table book. And the photographer was my interpreter, which I'm sure, as you can imagine, was pretty spotty.
Mm.
I didn't have questions to ask these people. I had no guidance at all. They were like, just go and write a book about what happened. So I did. So I spent 7 days in the rainforest. And it was pretty incredible. I got to meet a lot of people that are like very well known in the country. It's very tight knit culture. And I actually didn't know the book was published until the following summer, when the girl that I was mentoring in my program also chose to go to Cambodia. And she FaceTimes me her first day and was like, "You were so humble. I can't believe that you got published. You didn't tell me." And I was like, "Well, I'm not humble, first and foremost. I didn't know."
Oh, in
But I
Cambodia?
had completely written it. Yeah.
Okay.
I like created it in
You're a
PowerPoint,
star there and you
basically.
didn't even know it. Now we got to
I
tell
didn't
the
even
world
know. I'm like so famous.
we're
Well, they
announcing
like
it.
barely gave me credit. They put like one line in the book that I helped. And I was like,
Oh.
helped.
It sounds like a
Look
good
at all of this.
documentary, honestly.
It could have been. It was
Yeah.
crazy because like a few days after we left was when Angelina Jolie actually came to the company that I had been working for and interviewed them and sat with them for like a week to learn, because they were doing some. I never saw the movie that she was in, but it was something about the Khmer Rouge. And they were like,
Uh,
yeah, we're just hanging out the Angelina Jolie.
what was the common mode of coercion of the perpetrators or perceived perpetrators?
Killing their family members.
So,
That was pretty much it. Like a lot of them had children, and so they would threaten to kill them in front of them, and they would. I mean, they were
oh yeah,
basically,
it's very brutal.
yeah. I mean, there's this, what is it called? It's like a giant pit of skeletons. It's terrible. The killing fields is like part of it, but it's basically like a mass grave,
Yeah,
and it's kind of icky. Like tourists will pay to go there. We never went. We made really good friends with our tuk-tuk that would drive us to work every day. And he was like, "I'll take you if you want me to go, but I don't
tuk
enjoy
tuk.
going." And I don't. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
so fun.
it's so
I, of
funny
course, made a
how
little time lapse going to work.
they always have some weird ass name for those little carts in foreign countries.
Yeah, it was
Like
great. It's like an
in
Uber.
Tanzania, it's tiki something. I can't remember
Oh,
exactly.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think we sent anybody to Tanzania. I have a friend that lives there, though.
Yeah, I went there. I was there for a month. My
What'd you
early
go for?
20s. One of my ex in college, after college, joined the Peace Corps, so I went and visited.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we had a lot of Peace Corps people in our program.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They actually, yeah, it tracks. And then we had a couple people that did AmeriCares after. My grad school roommate actually just left AmeriCares after a couple years and loved it. But she was like, I mean, her job was deploying to disasters until a few months ago. So I would text her and be like, "Hey, what are you doing today?" And she'd be like, "I'm in Ukraine."
Yeah,
Like on the ground. It's nuts.
yeah. The fucked up part is pretty much at any point in the world's time, there's a genocide occurring.
I didn't realize that until I learned about the Khmer Rouge, like how it feels weird to say how common genocide is, but like it's not
Well,
an uncommon
the
war
way that
tactic.
the educational system I was raised in, I just thought of Nazi Germany,
Well, same. I
and
thought that was the only time that had ever happened.
we're also
I
just
had no idea.
we were the liberators, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. My husband and I love watching Band of Brothers. Have you ever seen that?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. We watch it once a year. We actually use that in our marriage instead of like asking if the other is okay. If someone like appears tired or kind of like down, we'll say flash thunder to like check in with each other. It's great.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Have you seen Masters of Air? It's on Apple.
No.
It's
Is it good?
it's comparable. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say comparable. It is a little different.
Similar vibes.
Band of Brothers is kind of timeless in a way, but
Yeah, it really is.
yeah, it's super good. If you have Apple, you should check it out.
Yeah, I definitely will. Is it like the same concept of like World War II?
Yeah, and they're the something airborne regimen.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
Airborne Battalion or whatever.
yeah, but that was pretty good.
Interesting. Hmm.
So
Well, I have a
ultimately,
question
you
for
got
you that's
to.
really weird. Oh, sorry,
Uh,
go ahead.
no, I was gonna say ultimately you figured out how to do your study abroad, but it took until after or during grad school.
Yeah. Well, and I think I expected more of a study abroad experience, and I was fully working 40 hours a week. Like, it was a full-time internship.
Yeah,
Um, it actually was really, it changed my life entirely because I actually developed PTSD while I was there, like almost by proxy.
like vicarious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the people that we lived with, so that our like host dad, if you will, him and his wife had survived because they lied about their education. So basically, like people who were educated beyond a high school diploma were targeted,
yeah,
kind of similar to what's happening right now, and would be killed pretty much immediately if they had a college degree or higher, and both of them did. He
that's
is a
so insane.
psychiatrist. It's
Yeah,
nuts. He's a psychiatrist, and his wife is an architect. So he has an MD and she has a master's. And they lied and said they were like taxi drivers or something, and they were left alone. Because I guess the military hadn't figured out that people were starting to figure out if we are honest about our because they
hmm
initially people believed, oh, if I'm really educated, they'll actually try to pull me in and like recruit me.
right.
And
For
they found out
their
they were actually just killing them.
yeah.
Yeah, pretty wild.
What's your weird question?
Oh, my weird question, which actually really funny. We're talking about genocide. Have you ever worked with a client who's committed murder?
uh, yeah, one that I know
What
of.
was that like? Yeah. I had a case in
We
grad school that I wanted to run by you and get your opinion on.
yeah, we didn't. It really wasn't like a big core element
Yeah.
of his story, which I think um the bias as a therapist could be, oh, they've murdered someone. That's interrelated to everything that they're telling me, right? Like that, like this is the
It's
core that I
tempting
need
to
to
believe
dig
that.
out.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I didn't like jump on that,
Yeah.
and it just never really like it wasn't like a someone he knew or planned. It was like an impulsive kind of drug
Hmm. Yeah.
life type of experience where it was like kill or be killed kind of vibe.
So, like,
So it was a little
was he
different than
like
like I murdered
delusional?
my wife or something.
Yeah. Which the person, well, I've worked with a couple, with the first one I ever worked with had murdered his wife, but it also, he was intoxicated and it was impulsive and it was in front of 100 people.
Holy shit! But yeah,
Yeah.
that
He
was
was in
the
prison for a
interesting,
long
most
time.
interesting part. I never like dug very much into it. It was more he alluded to it,
Mm.
and
Was he convicted?
no,
Oh, he just like mentioned it.
yeah,
Oh, that's interesting.
and I knew that it was like at least 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like I
That's what
knew
this
it
guy
was
was
like
too.
substantial. That he was like teenager, and he grew up in like the hood.
Yeah. Interesting. Huh.
So that was I didn't know, I didn't learn much specifically about the murder, but it did
Mhm.
teach me like a very valuable lesson, which is I have to be very aware of my therapist bias in terms of what the core element of their struggle is, because I
Mhm.
can make assumptions and like create all of this
Mhm.
conceptualization based on my bias, but in all actuality that impulsive murder may not have a deep connection to the other parts of him. And so it's like kind of like staying out of the way just enough to see if it is connected as opposed to honing in on it.
Well, and I think it's hard too to know if it's connected when
Sure.
it's a behavior that takes place when someone's intoxicated.
Hmm. Oh yeah, and I was
It's
in
like,
addiction treatment, so he was definitely
oh, yeah. So like,
yeah. He had a
yeah,
whole. I mean, I think he had started using when he was 7 or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
just did not grow up in
Wait,
an
what made you think of
environment.
that question?
I
Because you
had a
said you had
client
a.
ask me that yesterday, and I was like,
Uh,
oh, that'd be so funny to ask Evan.
oh, they
They're like,
asked
oh,
you
yeah,
if
I
you
worked
had
at a
seen
handful.
someone.
Yeah.
Maybe they're testing the waters.
Well, I don't remember what we were talking, like why they brought that up. They asked something. I think they had a family member who was in prison or something. And I was talking about, like, okay, so like this is the process who had killed someone. And I was like,
Hmm.
well, so like this is the process. There's like an arraignment and this whole thing. And they're like, why do you know so much about this? I was like, well, I used to have a contract when I worked in community mental health. I held the contract for wellness court. And I also did our contract for DOC. So I would see people like while they were still in prison and do their intakes, and they were already connected with me when they got out. And
Yeah.
then when I worked at the Coalition for the Homeless, I worked with our wages program, which was work and gain employment and education skills, work and gain education and employment skills. Yeah. Um, and like I would see women like the day they came out of prison, like an executive assistant would basically just like bring them to me and I would do their intakes. So it was like, they're actually like my favorite people. Like if I had my way, I would only work with people who have been in prison. They are my all time favorite. They're so great.
Yeah, I did an internship at the county jail,
Oh,
so
so
that was pretty
jealous.
interesting. My first client.
People fought over that in our program because it was such a
Oh, really?
popular, yeah.
Yeah, my first
Or
ever
at least the
real
doctoral students
life
would fight.
client was probably the most unstable client I've ever had, which is pretty funny.
No shit.
Yeah. I'll never forget. Yeah.
Huh.
I'll
What
never
made them
forget that.
unstable?
Um, very, I would say, like on the manic level,
Mm,
and very ranting,
hmm
and would spew off all of this like really ratchet shit that they had experienced or done.
hmm
Which, I knew at least on some level, but especially now, it was like pre-rejection presentation. So
Say more about that.
like if I can share all of my awful shit with you,
Uh-huh.
then it can create like this loop where I get to say, well, you rejected me, so I
Mm,
don't have to invest in this relationship.
wow. It's like a deep sense of being completely
It's
unworthy of love, and I'm going to prove it over and over
Yeah,
again.
because if I shake someone's hand and then talk about really violent, awful shit,
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to ever experience much
Mhm.
closeness.
Yeah, I think they're very good at pushing people away.
And so it's like, also, it's an incubator or like a safe space if I can vomit all of this toxic, like traumatic stuff that I've either done or experienced, and
Hmm
then you're still here. So it's a testing
hmm
behavior also. Like, are you
Oh, for
safe?
sure.
But also, it's like,
Or am I going to scare you?
it's
Like,
a
am I going to get a rise out of
misconfiguration
you?
because
Yeah.
if that's the sole testing behavior, me talking about raping someone or like something really awful,
hmm
um, and then someone rejects me, that doesn't mean that they weren't safe. It's actually
hmm
more about me. Like, why would I go off and tell someone like the most shocking thing I can think of right when I've
hmm
met them? It'd be
Yeah, I don't
normal
think that
for
there's
anyone to be
any.
like, "Whoa, I don't really know about this conversation." I mean, if you're not a
Right, right,
therapist, it's like you're
right.
at a coffee shop and someone's like, "Yeah, I beat the hell out of this pregnant woman 5 years ago."
Like,
You're like, "Uh,
okay. Thanks for sharing. I'm
yeah."
going to
So
go.
he had a lot of testing behaviors like that, and then he
Hmm
ended up ultimately sharing some of the yeah wild stories about childhood, about like his mom after school would chain him up to
Chain him?
like a abandoned car out in the backyard, like by his neck, like a dog.
Holy shit. I haven't heard that since Cambodia.
Just stuff like that.
Anything with chains.
And that
Yeah.
was like, and I tell people that aren't therapists, I've never met someone where after I've heard and thought about their full story, I've never met them and been confused as to how they've done whatever they've done.
Oh, 1,000%.
It always makes
I
sense. And it's not to
I could not agree
justify
with
it,
something more. No,
but it's
but it
like we only
explains.
see the outcome,
Hmm.
and it takes critical thinking
Hmm.
and observation and objectivity to allow ourselves to hear a full story. So it's like
Truly.
with treatment, we have this reactive approach because we see the behavior and then we try to change it or punish it.
Hmm. Hmm.
But the best preventative measure is to like think about the context and like how did all this come
Hmm.
together in the first place, and how do we
Oh, it always
mitigate
makes
those
sense.
things? Yeah.
I've never, ever, I could not agree with something more. I've never once heard a client story and then walked away judging them. Cause I'm like,
Like
well,
how did
now
you
I
do
fully
that?
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And it's so funny because like, I feel like friends will be like, wow, you work with people who have done awful things. And like, I don't see them that way. I just see them as a whole
Well,
person because I actually know their whole story, not just the little piece that you maybe saw in the news or something.
and what we don't want to believe as humans is that whatever a human has done is part of humanity, right?
Hmm.
So it's whatever a
Hmm.
human has done in the past, it's a historical
Hmm.
record of what humans are capable of. And we don't want to think that we are also capable of it. We have to other those people because
Yeah,
ultimately it's scary to
that's a good
think that
point.
in the sum of all their, if I had all of their experiences, their
Hmm.
epigenetics, their biological
Hmm.
factors, everything was similar, I probably would have done very similar things.
I've lost count of how many times I've told clients when, when clients are being really vulnerable and they're sharing, I did this really ugly thing. Or
Mm.
my favorite is when clients say, I know what you're going to say. And I'm like, okay, well, fuck off. No, you don't. No, that's so unfair. But it's like they're preparing for me to be angry at them. It's like that pre rejection of like, oh,
Hmm.
no, when I share this with you, you're not going to be happy. And I'm like, when have I ever actually expressed frustration with you?
Yeah.
And what would that be like if I did? But it's so interesting. It's like, it's so cheesy, but one of our professors in school actually told us, like Mr. Rogers, I think, said, like, you can never hate someone once you know their full story. And I find that to be so true with clients, where it's like I feel like it is so much easier than I thought to meet people where they're at.
If you shut up and listen. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the hardest part for me because I love to fucking
Yeah.
talk. It's so hard.
But yeah, it's part of it's that's part of the counterintuitive element is as a therapist, I learn more listening, whereas earlier in development, it's I need to probe and inquire,
Hmm.
and it gets busy. So
Yeah.
there's not like space to be like a witness. And so
Hmm.
obviously I don't want to be silent and completely blank slated because then people think you're fucking weird. But
Yeah. Yeah.
finding that middle is I'm always trying to find the middle in everything, pretty much.
I appreciate that. It's very DBT of you.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then that the example you used about immediacy, like have I ever been had an anger reaction towards you, or what would it
Hmm.
be like if I did? Those kind
Hmm.
of questions are those are the gold nuggets of therapy. It's the
I
immediacy,
love it.
here and now type of
Hmm.
our relationship concept,
Hmm.
or acknowledging reenactments
Yeah.
that are
Well, and
occurring in
it's interesting.
the
Sorry, go ahead.
no, the reenactments that are occurring in the therapeutic relationship.
Yeah, I find it interesting when clients say like, "Oh, I know what you're going to say," or "I'm worried you're going to be upset with me." And I'm like, "Well, I want you to share what you're about to share, but we also need to talk about what that
Mm.
is, what that fear
Where's
is."
that coming from?
Yeah, because it's if it's coming from me, I do want to know,
Hmm.
but it's unlikely, right? Where it's like I don't think I've ever gotten. Oh, that's not true. I was going to say I've never been dysregulated with a client, but that's not true. I don't think that'd be true of any therapist, but not really over telehealth. Doesn't really, and in private practice, like that doesn't, I don't think I've ever had that happen in private practice. I've had that happen in community mental health for sure.
Yeah.
but not so much over telehealth. Yeah. Hmm. There was something else I wanted to ask you and I lost it.
We're going to title this episode ADHD.
Literally, oh my gosh. I know, actually, during intake, I do self-disclose to clients. Like, I have ADHD. I sometimes will go on a roll, getting excited. Like, I love psychoeducation. And I feel like I, thank God, attract clients who also really like it too. And are like, oh, it's so interesting. And I'm like, but if I'm kind of getting on a roll and I'm losing you,
Yeah.
it's okay to
20
just like
minutes
put
have
your hand
passed.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I have to really monitor and find the middle, like you mentioned. It's like, okay, how can I be my
Yeah.
true authentic self? I'm definitely not a blank slate person. Every client I've ever had that has been dissatisfied with therapy in the past is because they saw a blank slate therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't understand why they're still teaching that in school. But a part of me wonders, has that, it reminds me of the parallel between like, is Christmas actually a religious holiday versus like, this has now become a cultural phenomenon? Is blank slate actually just the psychological way of teaching, budding clinicians professionalism in the therapeutic relationship? And then kind of letting
Yeah.
your authentic self show through a teensy bit.
Yeah. I think it's like any kind of purist, like a
Mm-hmm,
pure CBT therapist, I would want to shoot
mm-hmm,
myself.
mm-hmm.
A lot of people try to do that. I think it's inherently ineffective. But
It works
I do
sometimes, but
think,
not a lot.
yeah, I mean, incorporating it for sure. But I do
Yeah.
think the blank slate has value, I think, in early development, because without that introduction to what it is, there's
Mm-hmm.
so much implicit bias.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree. It like makes you
you kind
sit
of have to
back.
smack them in the face and be like, show
Mm-hmm,
no part of yourself ever.
mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm,
but I think the client perception of a therapist being blank slated, it may not even be blank slated. It might be, as opposed to like, what is it? As opposed to directive or active, they are passive.
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And maybe that's a better term for it. Is like, is this person truly a blank slate? Because when I think of blank slate, I think of a therapist who is pretty non-reactive to things that clients are sharing, but are still engaged in session. Like that's what I was really taught in school.
Yeah.
But then when clients refer to blank slate, it does seem it's coming more from a passive place of I feel like I just sat there and talked to myself for 50 minutes.
Yeah, the therapist just sitting back and then randomly going, "Oh, that's crazy,"
Yeah.
or
Yeah. And it's
"Oh,
like, what
wow,
did I
they
just
did
pay
that to
for?
you."
It's like you could get that from your friends. Like it just
Yeah,
feels
I do
like
like
there's no
the
value.
I do like the part of blank slate where it's it's a little bit more psychodynamic, where
Mm-hmm.
you're a mannequin and the client dresses you with their own
Huh.
projections. You ever read anything about that?
No, it sounds really interesting.
Yeah, like that's, I think, visually. And so, but for a blank slate, I think more of, as the therapist, I'm the mannequin in the room, and they
Mm-hmm.
put on all of these different like projections. Say,
Mm-hmm.
like when you're saying, "I know what you're going to say,"
Mm-hmm.
or when that client said that to you,
Yeah.
they were draping that onto you because
Mm-hmm.
you didn't give them information in the past that you
Mm-hmm.
were going to be reactive with anger or
Yeah.
whatever the fear was. So
Yeah.
if you can confidently say that, then you can also confidently suspect that the client had draped that shame
Mm-hmm.
or that perceived criticism onto you,
Mm-hmm.
and it's more of like an archetype of another human that has
Mm-hmm.
a more formative relationship with them.
That's so interesting.
So
It's interesting too because I get it from clients I've seen for a long time. Kind of goes
yeah,
both ways. I'm like, okay, I feel like we know each other very well.
yeah. I mean, if you've seen it for a long time,
That's interesting.
it might not mean as much. Maybe it does, but
I don't know.
I would
It's
suspect.
always like not sat well with me. It's one of those things I've walked away and like, I don't love that. Why
Well,
is
when you
that
ask them
uncomfortable for me?
what were you suspecting, what's
Hmm.
their common answer if there is one?
They often will say, I don't know, or I assume that you would be upset. And so then we get to talk about transference. And well, I'm guessing that you assume I would be upset because you're upset with yourself and that your behavior didn't align with your values
Right.
and that you're frankly just uncomfortable sharing this with someone else. Because sometimes therapy can be, when people are doing well, therapy can just be talking about what you watched on TV. And it's like, well, not really much came up. Like things are actually going pretty well, which is
Hmm.
so funny because those sessions always have a doorknob disclosure. It's like minute 49. Like, by the
By the
way, X, Y,
way,
and
yeah.
Z is happening. Let's talk about it next week. And I'm like, you did a great job avoiding that.
Doorknob disclosure. I like that.
Like my last client that did that, I literally was like, I laughed. I was like, how dare you? I know you know better than to do that. And she's like, I didn't realize how bothered I was until just now.
I
I
haven't
was
gotten
like,
many of those
well,
for some reason. I've heard of that happening like a good
hmm
bit. I don't know why.
hmm
It doesn't
it
really.
hasn't happened to me a ton, but I see it more in like my anxious female clients for sure that deal with a lot of shame.
Well, none of them want to see me, so
That's very fair.
one every
Which
like
I'm
3 years, I get one.
yeah. Which honestly, that's interesting to think about because when I get male clients, like even when working in community health, men would always ask for female providers.
Hmm.
And it's so interesting to me. So most of your caseload are male.
Yeah.
Huh. What is it like for you when you have a female client in the mix? Do you notice really big shifts in things that they want to work on or how they perceive things? Because I've been surprised at how different they are not, but I always expected them to
No,
be more different.
I don't. It's really not much different.
Yeah. I think I expected them to be so drastically different because our, given roles in society
It's
can
what
be
the
so
billboards
different.
show us.
That too. Well, and I talk to clients about that too, where I'm like, we should be thinking about how genders are perceived in media and that kind of thing. But it's interesting because when I think about differences in gender presentations, I also think about differences in like racial presentations, like things that are outside of your control that you
Hmm.
were completely born with, and how society views you and how your worldview is drastically different because of that. But it's fascinating to me that the problems and the conceptualizations are pretty similar.
Yeah, and I think at a more granular level internally, that's where the commonalities live. So
Yeah,
when we talk about
in
like
suffering.
external themes, they can be vastly different based on male, female, race, like
Hmm.
SES. But
Hmm.
again, going back to the humanity, there's like
Hmm.
universal pieces.
Yeah.
Like we want to feel loved. We don't want to be
Hmm.
perceived as bad
Hmm.
or that we're doing something wrong.
Hmm.
We want to feel like we're enough,
Yeah.
and that's universal across every context I can think of from a human.
Oh, I agree. I
And then
think.
the defenses
Mhm.
are very similar, also, like the emotional
Say more about
defenses.
that.
Like it would be a defense could be that I walk into a room and I think I don't care. I'll tell them too. I'll be like, I don't care what anyone thinks of me. I just tell it like it
Mhm.
is.
Mm.
So I'm checking everyone there, but I'm also hoping that it echoes back to me that I'm not sensitive. I don't care if I'm liked
Mhm.
or not.
Mhm.
Maybe if I believe I don't care if you like me or not, and then I learn that you don't like me, I won't be
I'll be
hurt by that.
protected. Mhm.
Yeah.
Going back to that pre-rejection.
Yeah. And so that's like universal. You know, like eh,
Yeah.
a woman may not say it like that, but maybe she's like, I don't know, comparing and figuring out how I'm more attracted than this other woman, or it takes a lot of different shapes.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. I was just listening to that Esther Perel podcast, Where Should We Begin? Have you ever listened to that?
mm-mm.
It's good stuff. It's really good. Basically, it's standalone therapy sessions with Esther, so they're not ongoing clients. They'll just do one session with her.
It's like the
And it
did you ever see the Gloria videos?
no.
Oh man.
Wait. In grad school, like the training
Yeah.
videos?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It is
Sorry.
like
Carry
that.
on.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, wait, that does ring a bell. Yes.
Hmm.
So it's exactly like that, but it's in a podcast audio only format.
Very cool.
It's so cool. And, she specializes in infidelity. And so she just really dives in. But it's so funny because sometimes I'm like, man, do I need to take continuing education? Like I'm feeling kind of, I don't know, just kind of like bored with my
Yeah.
clinical skills right now. I'll give that a listen, and it's really refreshing because the way she conceptualizes things is really interesting. I think she's also very psychodynamic, super relational. And she was talking to this couple. Where was I going with this? Oh, there was a situation where this woman was talking about how her ego inflates whenever she's talking to men. And although she is married, there are situations where she feels like she has to kind of puff up and
Hmm.
be this sort of like larger than life person. And she'd end up being rejected by potential friends or like colleagues at work because her behavior would shift so drastically with this like immense desire to be accepted. But it kept
So like
showing up
kind
in
of
this odd ego
like
way.
boastful.
Yes. Yeah.
And, yeah. Seeking to impress.
hmm
Yeah.
And it actually ended
Often.
up in her being rejected over and over.
Oh yeah. I see that a lot. Is like it's an overcorrection and it promotes the
Oh
very
yeah.
fear that we're trying to protect.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
It'd be
Oh
like
yeah.
like
It's just
someone
pushing
anxiously
people away.
attached chasing someone around.
hmm
It
Yeah, it's a perfect
actually
example.
increases the likelihood that someone's just going to become tired of you.
When I think of anything with attachment theory, I literally picture the little like Pac-Man when it's like on the little like ghost mode and they're like constantly chasing, but it's also like the avoidant attached person is just constantly moving away. And
Mm,
the anxious attached like keeps trying over and over and over. But it's very hard to catch them and like feel at peace.
yep.
I think attachment theory is so fascinating. The fact that that's one of the only things I feel like in our field that everybody agrees on. I've literally never heard of or met a therapist that doesn't believe in
Yeah.
attachment.
Yeah, that's good.
Kind of, I know, right? Kind of wild though, because I'm like, I feel like we disagree on like a lot of things as a field, but I'm rejuvenated at the thought of like, we're actually all pretty aligned on that front. That's so great.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just so much in our face in our own relationships. It's like,
That's a good point of like, it's
wait a
hard to
minute.
miss. Where it's like, this isn't really dense, you know? It's like, it's right in front of you. It's hard to miss.
Yeah, and I would like some of it to shift with our work and individuals and couples, is to just find more emphasis on the importance of personal accountability and self-regulation. Like
hmm
we get the cart before the horse,
hmm
in terms of trying to build connection and trust with our partner. It becomes very dependent upon our partner's emotional state or their willingness to comfort or reassure or give us space or whatever it is.
hmm
And that's why, like, a lot of clients, they look at me like I have 5 fucking heads. Like
When you mention attachment
oh yeah, or especially
or
like
just regulating.
couples work. I'm be like,
Yeah.
well, none of this is gonna work unless you have any semblance of self-regulation. Like, if you don't have any self-regulation, couples
Mhm.
therapy is not gonna work.
Oh, I learned that the hard way as a client in couples therapy.
There you go. It's like it doesn't fucking work because you're gonna get
Yeah.
activated and then you can't soothe and you're gonna seek
Yeah.
this dysregulated, dysfunctional person to
hmm
reassure and soothe your activation. You're gonna put it all
hmm
on them and vice versa. And it's this
Yeah. And then
like
it's
back
just
and
like
forth pendulum.
disgusting enmeshment monster. When I think of enmeshment, I think of like a rat king in the subway of New York, where
Yep.
it's like all the tails are connected, but nobody's moving. It's just a shit
Yeah.
show. Yeah. I learned that in couples therapy.
Yeah.
My therapist was a Green Beret and like wore combat boots and flannels and was like always chugging a Red Bull. And it was like just a larger than life man. And I remember one time he was like, Ree, you need to self-soothe. Get it together. And like just hearing someone call me on that,
Mm-hmm.
I was being really activated. The person I was dating at the time, their mom was really activating me. And so I kept going to my partner to try to be soothed because I didn't understand why she was being so nasty to me. And so I thought, oh, this is what I should do because it's his mother that is causing these problems.
Yeah.
And I got a swift kick in the ass. And like, no, this is not the exception to that rule. You still need to self-soothe and calm yourself down. And then
Yeah.
you have a conversation about this.
Well, and it's also like, why do I care so much? And the answer is usually not the person I'm upset with, like
No, definitely
directly.
not.
There's other
No,
things that I
never.
have. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny that do you ever feel like as a therapist, like you'll mention something that feels like you learned that the first day of grad school and clients are like, oh my God, you like the clouds just parted. You just opened my
Oh, yeah.
eyes. And I'm like, well, fuck me. We're not even doing like the deep work yet. Sometimes they'll
Yeah.
fall off after that. And I'm like, no, this is just the beginning. Like we're just laying the foundation.
There was a distinct life altering moment in grad school. I don't have many distinct life altering moments, but it was when I started to learn. It was a diet. It was I don't know. It was a fucking diagram. It was like a word and then over another word. It was um, content over process.
Mm,
So, and then obviously I was reading about that after that. I don't remember that. I just remember that like wording and the shape of
image.
how it looked.
Yeah.
Um, and it pretty much it communicated and streamlined everything that I was trying to conceptualize about my own life throughout
Hmm.
my entire development, where
Hmm.
everyone was focused on the content as opposed to the process by which that content occurred, or
Hmm.
like the underneath, the way
Yeah.
that like the system functioned, or
Hmm.
like all these unseen elements that I was experiencing, but no one had the skill set to identify or process with me,
Yeah.
therapists included, right? They were all very
Yeah.
behavioral patrol um,
Mhm.
and aligned with parent. So
I do hear
it,
that a lot from clients too. If they've done therapy as a kid, they're like, it was terrible.
yeah, but it was like, yeah, that image sticks with me as like this redefining moment for me. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, I need to not only focus on process as opposed to content all the time with clients, but
Hmm.
also with myself.
Hmm.
Like the content
When
is
it's,
secondary.
yeah, absolutely. When it's so interesting, because like when I feel if there are clients on my caseload, I'm like, man, I just feel like we're kind of hitting a wall. Like I have one client, we've done a couple of sessions, but is just more guarded. I have a few people on my caseload that just are inherently more quiet. And
Oh yeah, I've got some
I,
of those.
as yeah, and it's really hard for me. I have to really check in with
You don't like
myself. Like,
people being quiet?
it's hard.
You're like, what
Well,
am I
I
doing
like it when
wrong?
I'm doing it intentionally. Yeah, like
Yeah.
if I'm like using it as a therapeutic tool, love that. It makes me feel like I just ran a marathon in record time. But when a client is doing it, it's like, oh my God, what are we going to
Yeah.
talk
Am I
about
not
now?
doing
They're paying for
enough?
my
Am I
time.
not doing a good job?
Yeah,
I need to perform.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I have to like really check in myself on that.
Well,
Be
I think
like, okay,
that question
this
is
is not me.
important,
I need you to give more. Yeah.
but I think I always try to ask the questions, but I don't need to be biased in the answer. I need to like truly zoom out and see based on what's happening in the session, like what's the
Hmm.
real answer here.
Hmm.
Because
I think
if
it's hard
someone's
too.
quiet, it's a natural reaction to think, is this because of me? Am I tired
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever it is?
Yeah. Like, did I do something? Which is so funny because I feel like it reminds me of in childhood if you had any friends whose parents went through divorces and they just were convinced it was their fault
Oh
when
yeah,
really it's not at all. Or maybe it was, who knows? Like maybe like child rearing is stressful. It can be a part of
yeah.
it.
Don't ever let them know
But
that. It actually
I know it's
was
really
your
funny. I'm
fault,
like,
child.
actually, I'm like, well. I think having a child could be a part of it, but it doesn't mean it's your fault.
Just partially.
Just partially, just like a teensy bit, like 2 or 3%. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Your colic destroyed our marriage.
I am here to tell you, I did have a client tell me he's the last of a handful of children, like a baby of the family. And his mother told him, if you had been the firstborn, we wouldn't have more children because your colic was so severe.
Wow.
I was like, that's
so
a
sweet.
wild thing to tell a child. Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Like, sometimes inside thoughts don't need to be outside.
Yeah.
Like, what a thing to share with a child. I don't think that was the correct moment for vulnerability.
Right. Yeah, that's funny.
Not with that.